welcome to Round Robin. I'm your host, Robin McCormick with the City of Hampton, and today I'm going to introduce you to two wonderful world-traveling musicians who live in Hampton and who happen to be at a surprising age. I think you'll be very impressed. My guests are Kendall and Kearston Gonzales. Welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's tell everybody. We'll start with you, Kearston. How old are you?
I am 12 years old.
How long have you been performing?
I have been performing since the age of 5.
Excuse me while my jaw hits the floor, okay? That is really impressive.
Thank you.
And then Kendall, you started performing or started taking lessons when you were how old?
I started taking cello when I was 2 years old.
At that point, the cello is like a lot taller than you, right?
No, I actually had a smaller sized cello.
Okay.
Yes.
2 years old.
Yes.
And how old are you now?
I'm 10.
I'm speechless. I hardly know what to say. So let's talk about how this started. You were obviously at the ages you guys started. It wasn't entirely your decision because, 2 and 3 year olds don't really make decisions. So how did you end up taking violin, Kearston?
I ended up taking violin because my mother, she did not want me to play sports because she had played sports and she wanted her children to do something different and new. So she was online at work and she found a picture of 2 and 3 year olds playing the violin, and that gave her the idea to let us start music.
So was there a program? Was it an organized program? There are strings programs for very young players. Is that how you got in? Or was it personal lessons or both?
We started with a Mommy and Me music class, and we would drive to Norfolk, and there was the Music Academy there, and we would clap rhythms and sing songs and learn the different parts of the violin. And then at the age of 3, I got my first violin for Christmas, and I started lessons.
That is really cool. I did Mommy and Me music with my kids, but all we did, we stopped at the clapping and the rhythms and the singing and the, maybe a little drumming on plastic drums. No real instruments. But now, even though your mom got you into this, you wouldn't be a success unless you put forth your own effort and I guess eventually really fell in love with what you're doing.
Yes, I really do love it.
Why?
I really love to play the violin because you can play different notes, you can play different pieces from different time periods, and you can express yourself in different ways, and you can share it with other people.
So most kids your age, though, aren't really necessarily into, classical violin pieces. They might be more into pop, dance, hip hop, a different kind of thing. So do you feel out of sync with your generation?
Not really. I kind of feel special in a way because I enjoy classical music and I also enjoy pop tunes and different songs like that. So I get to have a little bit of both, so I can make sure that I feel okay.
All right. So, Kendall, was it kind of a given for you that you would pick up a string instrument? I mean, as well as your sister was doing, it was like, oh, well, this is the family thing now, so I'm going to do it, right?
Well, it was actually Kearston's teacher who gave Mommy the idea of me playing cello because we would be competing if we both played violin.
That is a really interesting concept because it's true in a lot of families. Sometimes I think of sports families where suddenly younger child begins to outshine older child in swimming or basketball or whatever it is. So having different specialties, similar, overlapping, but not the exact same, was your teacher's idea.
Yes.
And how did you feel about that?
I was 3 and I don't remember.
That makes perfect sense. But obviously, too, you have stuck with it, right?
Yes.
And in fact, really, really like it.
Yes.
Why?
I love the cello because of the bass notes it has. I mean, on the cello you can play all 3 of the clefs. Tenor clef, bass clef, and violin clef, or treble clef.
Okay. You, though, I mean, I watched you carry this into the studio.
Yes.
You probably weren't carrying this around by yourself, right?
No. Mommy would carry it.
And it weighs almost as much as you do.
Kind of.
So you guys now take private lessons, both from members of the Virginia Symphony. So
Yes.
you're like up there in skills level, like probably, you know, what a high school kid or someone much older. You just have this innate ability, but my sense is you also work at it pretty hard.
Yes.
How many hours a day do you guys practice?
We normally practice 2 to 3 hours a day, and if we have something special coming up, like an audition for camp or for a competition, we normally add more time so we can get better.
Learn specific pieces or whatever.
Yes.
Okay, this is going to surprise people out there. Where have you performed so far? You started, well, maybe not started. Locally, obviously, you perform for parents, friends, or your teachers' concerts or whatever. But you've taken to traveling a good bit. I hear you went to a Wizards game, the WNBA. Was that one of your first, like, really professional big crowds?
That was indeed our first big crowd when there were a lot of people watching us and listening. And I think the biggest one that we've ever done would be when we played the national anthem at the Rockets game in Houston, Texas.
The Houston Rockets, the
Yes.
NBA team.
Yes.
Tens of thousands of people in the auditorium. And you guys came out onto the court
Yes.
and played the national anthem.
Yes.
What did that feel like?
I saw all the people way up there and the people in the middle and all the way at the bottom, and I thought, they're here for me.
And it didn't scare you? Like, I would have been petrified. I mean, I wouldn't have had the talent, but, you know, you guys have a lot of poise for your age. That's an intimidating thing. You didn't freeze up? You didn't get nervous?
Well, when I was walking out, that's when I'm nervous. But as soon as I play the cello, about in the middle of the piece, I feel better.
You, like, relax into it.
Yes.
How do you feel?
I felt nervous before I walked out,
See, like, you're old enough where that's starting to kick in, I think.
but once I played the first note, I realized that I just had to concentrate on the music and that all of my practice that I'd put in would kick in, hopefully, and then that I wouldn't be nervous.
And did it work?
It did work.
What did it feel like? Because I'm pretty sure you got some applause, right?
Yes.
People, I think, are stunned when they hear your music and look at you at the same time. So what did that feel like?
It felt exciting, exhilarating, probably a little bit, I don't know, nerve-wracking at the same time because all those people were looking at you. And I think the biggest emotion of all was probably the excitement because everyone was so happy to see the game or so excited to see their team or whoever they were rooting for, and that energy was just all in the stadium.
And so then you become a part of the event. It isn't just about you. It isn't just the anthem. You're a part of everything going on. You got killer box seats, from what I heard. You got to enjoy the rest of the game. Did you get to meet people while you were there?
We actually did not meet anyone, but we had a great time.
That is just so cool. Now, you guys are homeschooled.
Yes.
And I think that's part of the reason you can do all the traveling that you've been able to do. Basically, your teacher goes with you.
Yes.
What subjects do you each like in school? And just because you're closest, Kearston, I'm going to start with you.
Okay. My favorite subject of all would probably be reading comprehension, and then math would be second, and then spelling different words and learning new words is also one of my favorites. And science, doing the different tests and experiments is a lot of fun.
Science can be very hands-on. That's good. But you like reading? What kind of books do you read?
I read a lot of books. I go to the library and I come out with this huge stack of books.
Do you really?
Yes.
How do you have time?
So we normally go to the library on Wednesdays or Tuesdays, and when we go in, all of the librarians know us because we have all these books that we like to read. So they give us suggestions of different series we might like, and sometimes we just look at the shelves and decide to try something new, like a different author or a different genre, and it's a lot of fun to do.
That's great. And you actually like a little bit different subjects. I hear you're a math whiz. Is that right?
Yes. I enjoy math, spelling, science, and I enjoy reading.
Okay. Where else have you guys traveled besides NBA games? I heard a mention of Europe, and I heard a mention of an upcoming Australia trip.
Yes. We have traveled a lot over the years, and Europe was our first big destination. So we went when we were younger, and we got to tour the city, and we got to play for our classmates when we had school there. And we visited the Eiffel Tower and l'Arc de Triomphe, and we got to see the big landmarks.
So really, your mom builds the music and the performances and the travel and the curriculum, like it all melds together.
Yes.
Yes, it does.
Do either of you think that being a professional musician might be in your future? You're thinking about it,
Yes, I am.
but it also might be law, right?
Yes, I have not decided, but
You don't have to decide right away.
I haven't decided, but I think both are pretty interesting, and both I really enjoy doing different things. So I think I'm better at music right now, but I will just see when I get
You
older.
have a lot of time. You really, keep your options open. And Kendall, what do you think? I know it's really young to ask a 10-year-old what they want to do in the future, but you're a little more ready than most 10-year-olds.
I would like to become an orthodontist, but I would also like to own a horse, and I want to keep playing cello.
Wonderful. Well, I can't wait to hear you guys perform. So we are going to take a short break, change out the chairs, and hear you guys perform. Thank you so much.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.